Casio's best productivity watch has an ability that no one is talking about. The Casio LWS2200H is the best productivity watch because while it does what every productivity watch does, help you get more done more easily without ever bogging you down, it also looks amazing. But this is a women's watch. I will show you, however, some men's watches that have the same ability at the end of the video, but know this for now. All of these watches I'm talking about today can, for $30 to $40, record the current date and time, which is a feature that, it's vanishingly rare on Casios. I couldn't find it other than the timestamp feature on the GW9400 Rangeman series, anywhere. And you'd think this is something an awesome digital watch could probably be programmed to do. Well, it can, and this is one of them. So what can many Casio watches do? Well, this can do all of those things, but everything is streamlined for productivity. And it does more. Let's start with the timer. It's a simple timer, no auto repeat, and it only goes up to 1 hour. For either getting things done or keeping yourself from taking a break from getting things done for too long, this is a great choice. And Casio's decision making on this has left us with fewer button pushes to set a really functional timer. This is the kind of streamlining that I'm talking about. Now let's move on to world time. It's not actually world time, it is dual time. And there is nothing to get lost in here. There is no scrolling through endless time zones and being uncertain of what you're actually setting. Just set the actual time you want for your other time zone. And if you physically go to your other time zone, then you can actually just push and hold the magic 5th button, also labeled as lap reset. Push and hold, and this will swap your current time with the dual time. It is insanely easy, but the long press on this button means that you're very unlikely to do it by accident. Like many Casio watches, this watch has 5 alarms, and this is a very functional and easy setup. Scroll through them with the start button on the bottom right. It is very easy and clear to see what you're doing as you just push the 5th button on the lower part of the watch to turn on and off the alarms you want. There is nothing to puzzle out here. If an alarm is on, it says on next to it. There's also an hourly signal called SIG that you can turn on in the same way. These 5 alarms, like the other features on the watch, are streamlined for productivity. There's no fluff to get lost in. You can't set an alarm only to go off every day in a particular month, for example. You can only turn it on or off. This is very productivity focused, and I think it is actually very helpful for making the watch easy and quick to use. And now that we've made it through most of the functions on this watch, let's go back to the first function after the timekeeping screen, the stopwatch. That is where the magic happens with recording the current date and time. But before I talk about that, please note that the actual time has been on the bottom of every single screen so far, which really helps me keep on track. This includes the timer even when it's running. This is a fantastic feature. And this ability is available on the stopwatch too. All that you need to do to activate it or turn it off is to push the adjust button on the upper left. So here's how this works. From the main timekeeping screen, push mode on the button on the bottom left to get to the stopwatch, and then press start. That's the button on the bottom right. The current date and time is now saved. But in order to see it, you'll have to take a couple other steps. You'll have to stop the stopwatch and then hit the reset button, which is the lap reset magic 5th button in the bottom, and then press the bottom left mode button once to get to the record screen. There is your time and date. But wait, there is more, because if you also hit the lap button during the time that the stopwatch is running, you can actually save the lap and split times. Long story short, since this is a productivity watch video, the lap time is the time between when you started the stopwatch and hit the lap button, or the time between when you hit the lap button and the next time you hit the lap button. These are all the laps, like this. The split time is just the time from when you started the watch till each time that you hit the lap button. So each split time is going to be bigger and bigger than the last, while the lap times could be of any length. The reason that this feature is useful and that I kind of describe this to you specifically is because if you are going to do something where you need to record multiple times, you can actually keep all of those times kind of in the same record. Now, only the start date and time is going to be recorded, but then if you look at the split times, you will be able to see how many minutes or whatever it was after you started that event. And that's going to allow you to just add those number of minutes onto the start time, and you have more times that you can record. Let me tell you how I use this. I work in a hospital, and when I go to see patients, a lot of times I want to start my time with that patient, and I need to record that, and then I might do different things during my visit with the patient that also need to have their times entered in the medical record. By just starting the stopwatch when I enter the room, and then hitting the lap button every time I get to something that needs to have its time recorded, I don't have to be typing on the computer constantly while I'm seeing the patient, but I can still record accurate dates and times for all of the things that could occur then. And I just have to make a side note here. You can change the lap and split time display locations for both the stopwatch and the record section. You go into the stopwatch and press and hold the magic 5th button. So this budget or standard Casio watch can do everything that a regular Casio watch can do, but at every step, any fluff has been minimized, and it's been made super functional to use to get things done on a daily basis. When you're using this watch, you are going to get so many things done. It's like you're going to work so quickly, it's almost like it's adding years to your life. Wouldn't it be great if it could actually add years to your life? Maybe it can, because this watch can keep track of all of the regular things that Casio watches do, but in a more streamlined format. It can save the current date and time, which almost no Casio watches can do, and it can add years to your life on this earth. It can add time to your life. Why is nobody talking about this watch? So it sounds like this should be April 1st and not like approximately January 1st, but really this watch does have that ability. And it is because it has a step tracker. Now, don't turn off the video yet. First of all, this is not connected to the internet. Anything it's measuring is going to stay right in here. It's 100% private. Number 2, this function can be almost invisible if you want, because you don't access it by pressing the mode button the way you access everything else on the watch. And honestly, I usually don't even look at the step tracker. I only use it when I need it, and I even forget that the feature is actually on this watch, even though it literally says step tracker at the top. Number 3, the data to this point in time, and this is actually a special interest of mine, shows that taking more steps does actually increase your life expectancy. Now, don't think that this is like some tons and tons of steps per day thing necessarily, although if you do get more than 12,000 steps a day, then you actually have like a big bonus to your health. But the biggest bonus is for people who actually don't walk that much. For the lowest amount of walkers, moving up to the barely more than that category, like going from 2,000 steps a day to 4,000 steps a day, those folks were able to decrease their mortality rate more significantly than anybody else, if you believe this population data. And number 4, this is legitimately the easiest way to get exercise that can improve your duration of life, because you don't have to do anything special. You can just walk a bit more, and you don't have to get sweaty. It's no big deal. You can just fit it right in. So I actually think there is a serious utility to this step tracker function, because, it's not about meeting your fitness goals. It's about meeting your life goals. It's about getting stuff done. And one of the best ways to get more stuff done is to have more years of being alive. To me, this step tracking feature is like an extra feature on an otherwise almost perfect productivity watch. To access it from the timekeeping screen, hit the magic 5th button, and the bar at the top shows how close you are to reaching your step goal. I have 2 things to share with you before I tell you the cons of this watch and show you images of the men's versions. Number 1, from any screen, you can press and hold the bottom left mode button to get back to the main timekeeping screen. Now don't forget, there are actually 2 main timekeeping screens. Number 2, the 2 rectangle bars up here are there to show you if the watch is noticing that you're taking steps. When it's counting steps, they blink on, off, like left, right, but not in time with your steps. And now let's talk about the cons of this amazing watch. Number one is the backlight. While the backlight is totally serviceable, its warm glow is more reminiscent of a cozy evening by the fire than the bright white work light that I associate more with productivity. Number two, like I said, this is not a large watch. In spite of its styling, which is reminiscent of a G-Shock square, my 5.9-inch wrist is right in the middle of the holes. But like I said, there are the other versions. Like with many light-colored wrist straps, the color from your clothes may actually dye your light-colored watch band. Here is my original khaki-colored band, which you can kind of see is dyed a little bit blue on the edge. It looks dirty, and I can't clean it off. It's actually dyed. Number four, the keeper doesn't keep. Number five, the timer, in my opinion, should be like a one-button repeat timer so you can move from one 5-minute timer directly into the next. And number six, the record function can get a little bit messy. I recommend that you clear all of the data whenever you get anything off of there that you want to save. And once you've stored it, however you're going to store it, just clear all the data out of there to minimize confusion. If you're wondering, it does have 10 bars of water resistance. These buttons seem to be made of metal, and all of the buttons have a quality feel to them. You can use 12 or 24-hour time, and you can set the light duration to 1.5 or 3 seconds. The key press sounds can also be turned on or off, and these features are found from the main timekeeping screen when you press and hold the adjust button to set the time. That's also where you set how many steps you want to be your goal for the day. Now here's a look at the WS2200H and the WS2100H. I think that these have all of the same features as the LWS2200H, but in a different form factor, which looks more sporty, and that might be suitable for some folks. I assume that Casio will make more watches like this in the future, so I want to tell you how you can find these watches, because it's really hard. It's not like you can go to the Casio website and just search for these. What you can do, however, is go to the Casio website and search for step tracker watches, because I don't think this exists on any watches without the step tracker function. Once you find a watch that you like and looks like maybe you could find it to buy somewhere, expand the watch features section on the description page for that watch. And under stopwatch, there will be a section letting you know that the memory capacity includes the measurement start month, date, hour, and minute. Thank you for coming by. Watch videos are kind of new to me, so if you like this video and want to see more content like this, please do hit the like button. Thanks for watching.